Hello and welcome. This is a video about the book of Revelation and its layout, and which chapters relate to each other. So first we have Revelation chapter 1. This covers an introduction to the day of the Lord, a greeting to the churches, and the first time we see Jesus. So chapter 1 can be considered a general introduction and greeting. Chapters 2 and 3 cover the 7 churches. They all have different aspects mentioned and are either praised or warned. This covers the type of churches in existence today, of which only one, the faithful one, will escape the judgment. Others will have to go through it either as punishment or to make them white and purify them. So chapters 2 and 3 shows us the praise and warnings for the church just before the judgment begins. Then there's chapters 4 and 5, when we find out only Jesus can open the scroll. Only he can initiate the events of the second judgment and his return. So here he is handed the scroll in order to open the first seal. So chapters 4 and 5 cover a preparation for the judgment and Jesus' return to begin. Then we go into the judgment period itself. We have chapters 6 and 7 and the first bit of chapter 8 covering the seals being opened. These will be covered in more detail in other videos, but as an overview, these show Jesus in control of the judgment, initiating each step and giving believers an overview of his perspective from heaven. Then chapters 8 to 11 cover the judgment of the church, which currently covers most of the Western world. And again, the details will be covered in other videos, but this ends with Jesus' return. Then the perspective changes, and it focuses on the beast rather than the church. This is when the time moves back to roughly the beginning of the judgment again. So we go to a time in chapter 12 where we see the beast and the church, which in the biblical view the true church would be grafted into Israel, into the Jews, so the church is not really separate from Israel in this sense. But we see the relationship of the beast to the church and the beast trying to destroy the church. Chapter 13 gives us detail on the beast, and chapter 14 shows us the elect that survived the persecution of the beast. Also in chapter 14 we see some angels, one giving a warning, and 2 others saying when earth is ready for taking the accepted and rejected people. These proclamations come into play at specific points in Revelation. Chapters 15 and 16 show the wrath that will come onto the beast. Chapters 17 to 19 show the beast hating the false church and destroying her as part of the judgment, and it shows God's wrath being poured out on what's left of her at the very end as well. Then chapters 19 and 20 show Jesus' return, defeating the beast and setting up the kingdom, and sealing up lies and deceit about God for 1,000 years. Chapter 20 shows us the 1,000-year kingdom, the lies and deception being released at the end, and the last rebellion against God. Then it shows the second judgment, where all people who weren't at the first will be judged and either accepted or rejected. The heavens and earth that we know will disappear, and chapters 21 and 22 describe a new heavens and a new earth. This is when God will be all in all, and will be the first time the people who have been given eternal life will see the face of God. Everything will be complete, and there will be no more sin and no more death. The end of chapter 22 is a conclusion. It confirms these events will happen, that the time is near, and includes a warning about the book. It ends on reaffirming, as in the first verse of the first chapter, that Jesus is coming quickly. Thank you for listening, and God bless.